A joint statement on climate change and cutting emissions is hailed as an important achievement or breakthrough in the climate change issue between the two countries. Why is that?
Well, yes, the joint statement by the two presidents of China and the U.S. Represents another milestone in their cooperation on climate change. We know that last November in Beijing, the two presidents announced their joint efforts to fight global warming, and that was welcomed by the international community as a major effort by the two biggest economies and polluters of the world. And this time, they have made a new progress, and with each country announcing their commitment and efforts for domestic action. And secondly, they announced new moves for bilateral cooperation. And thirdly, both have committed to a successful multilateral climate change conference in Paris at the end of this year. Mm-hmm. And for example, domestically, China has announced a new plan, a national program to start the cap and trade practices starting as of 2017. And also China announced the establishment of a $3.1 billion fund for South-South cooperation, that is cooperation between developing countries. That fund, the amount of fund, matches the fund provided by the United States. That is a $3 billion of fund for fighting global warming established by the United States. So we can see the commitment and joint efforts of both countries in dealing with one of the biggest threats to humankind, that is the climate change. So both countries, with their efforts, also hope that other countries will follow and join hands to make sure that all of us will have a successful Paris conference, because in the past few years, and there has been great debate, and it's very contentious actually among different countries, and what kind of goal they can achieve in the Paris conference, because in the past they have failed to have very meaningful international multilateral endeavors to fight climate change. And this time, with the leading role played by China and the United States, as people have become more kind of hopeful that maybe we'll have a successful Paris conference on climate change.
Right, indeed, all the rest of the world are looking at these two countries. One is the biggest developing country, and one is the biggest developed country, and the two together are the two biggest polluters in the world. So the promises and actions from these two countries are very important. Then exactly what kind of cooperation can be done between these two?
Domestically, actually, they should implement their national goals for climate change. For example, for China, China has established a very ambitious national agenda on fighting global climate change. For example, China commits to reducing per unit GDP unit of emission by 60 to 65%. That is starting from the level of 2005. That's a very ambitious plan, because, for example, China is heavily reliant on the use of coal to power its economy. The biggest consumer of coal, which is actually one of the biggest sources of carbon emission. And but China has made the commitment and will work through the promise. And also bilaterally, of course, the two sides have established joint working mechanisms, and they are working very successfully. Both countries have committed this time to enhancing their joint efforts, and also they will ask the car businesses, and they establish kind of public-private partnerships for promoting low-carbon technologies, and they will actually have established funds and established mechanisms to promote public-private partnerships, to promote low-carbon technologies and cooperation. So they have a lot to do, and they have made progress on that. Of course,
challenges are still waiting there.
they also would like to establish this kind of transparency, verification for the commitments made by China, United States, and other countries.
Right. Thank you very much, Mr. Jia Xiudong from China Institute of International Studies. Thank you very much.